talk about the hard days. The days where it's like, it's too much going on. Like, I can't really do this right now. Yes, we have those days. I had one of those mornings today, right? So it wasn't a full day because I do wake up with an intention to have a good day every single day, right? We started our morning off on the right foot. We had breakfast, I turned on music, we were dancing, we were singing, and then in a split second, like, things just changed. Crying, tantrums, screaming, went from one child to two of them, and it was like, what am I doing? Am I being tested? Like, I had music on, we were having fun, we were dancing, we were singing, but it was like, things happen so quick. And when those things happen, it's like, what do I do? Like, what do I do? Do I keep going? Do I push through? Do I make them push through? Do I make them do our normal things that happen throughout the day? Or do I take time out to relax? Do I take time out to examine the matter to see how can we move forward, right? Do I take some time off, take a few hours, regroup, bond, and then get back to our normal routine? These are some things that I started to consider when we were having a day, right? Because look, every day is not gonna be perfect. I have my days, the kids have their days, right? And we're all entitled to those days. But it's like, we're not always prepared, right? So I know all of the common tactics, I know all of the techniques, right? I'm reading books on the whole brain child and all of that. Let me show you the book, by the way. So I have this book, The Whole Brain Child, which tells you about the brain and how child development works and how our children think with this side of the brain, but they act with this side of the brain. And it's like, I know all of the things, but sometimes that still doesn't prepare me for those moments when they come so unexpectedly. So in those times, what I try to do personally is take a deep breath. Now we're into this video and I haven't even introduced myself. So if you're new here, hi, I'm Shadiamond. I'm a homeschool mom, stay-at-home mom to a 6, 4, and 1-year-old. So yeah, let's talk about it. So in those moments of like meltdowns and tantrums and adversity, is that the right word to use? It's like I have to first regroup myself. Like, I have to take a deep breath, because if one is screaming without no limits on stopping, it's like, do I scream higher to get them to come down, or do I like gather myself, soft, trying to see what the issue is, reasoning, trying to figure out what's going on and stuff like that. So that's what I have to think about today. This morning I was like, the music is already on, let me just take a deep breath. Let me not answer right away. Let me not react right away. Let me think about the things that could be wrong, right? Things like food, right? Things like just what type of day they're having. Like, sometimes our kids have off days, right? And that's okay. Sometimes things just spark them and it's like, okay, all right, cool. Sometimes it's seeking attention, right? So have I been giving them the amount of attention that they desire, the amount of attention that they need? Is this a call out for help, right? Or attention? Is it that they're afraid of something? Is something too hard? Are they putting things off? Like, it's a whole lot of reasons that our children can act certain ways. It's like, I personally like to get to the bottom of things, right? So I try to not to react right off top. I would tell my children, like, look, I need a minute. Just give me a minute. You know, just let them get a little quiet time and I get back to you. Or sometimes I would have to just send them to the room, go cool down. In the room, they do have a common corner where they have sensory bottles. They have the little mazes that help with breathing. They have books on things where they can breathe and stuff like that. And I do have a video on ways that I deal with big emotions that I filmed sometime last year, so I linked that video. It's a really good one. But since then, I have developed some more techniques. I have added some more things that we currently use, and I just wanted to share that today, okay? So my first thing I would say for just dealing with those tough days, parenting or homeschooling or whatever the case may be, is to first just take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Think about what's going on and why is it happening, right? I know sometimes we can, react with yelling or react with dismissing the children's feelings or react in a way that's not the best option if we only took a break to think about what's going on, right? And I'm guilty of that sometimes myself, because sometimes I be having my days, and my days on top of their days is going to be like, we get it, right? But I'm constantly doing the work outside of those moments to realize that my children need my assistance to help them with their big feelings, regardless of how big it is for me. Like, it's my job to teach them how to deal with those emotions. It's my job to teach them how to communicate how they're feeling and things of that nature. So I first have to work on myself, regulate my emotions, things like that. So the second thing I would say is to get outside. Before I recorded this video, we spent a whole hour at the park letting them run, play, jump, do all of the things, because sometimes we just need that fresh air. They need to get their wiggles out. They need to play in the grass and do all the things, right? So fresh air is beneficial for everybody, but especially in those moments where it's just so many emotions, it's so high, we're in the house, getting outside, going for a walk, it automatically soothes me when I go outside. So I know that it works with my children as well, because their behavior totally changes, right? It's an instant mood booster when you get in the sun anyway. So that's something I wanted to share. The third thing I would say, this shot probably should have been the first thing, but I have to take time to regroup. Like, I have to look, Lord, I need you in this moment. Like, I can't do this myself, because sometimes it be bigger than me. So that's prayer, meditating, listening to music that has that message. If you aren't able to just sit down and read your Bible, I usually pick songs that are related to that, so that I can get the word, I can get the message that is relaxing, right? So praying, meditating, that's the third thing. My fourth thing I would recommend to do is to journal, right? How are you feeling? Why are you feeling this way? And then look back on that, because sometimes we have these high emotions and we're feeling some type of way right then and there, and then later on we can reflect back on, okay, this is why I felt like that. This is why I felt like I lost control, or whatever the case may be. So it's really good to take into account like what's going on, how you're feeling, and how you can better, better handle the situation the next time. I lost count. I feel like I'm on number 4, but the fifth thing I would say is to just give yourself a little grace. For us, we didn't do homeschool today because I just knew that it was gonna be a lot going on, right? And so the thing I did instead was I took the time out, right? We were doing music, we were doing dancing, we took a break, right? Everyone got dressed, all cleaned up and all of that. And then what we did as a family, all of us, we cooked lunch. And we used this subscription box. We still did, well, kind of we did homeschool. We talked about science, right? We talked about anthocyanins, which is the group of pigments to give fruit its color, like grapes, red cabbage, black beans, what else? Beets, things of that nature. So we talked about anthocyanins, cyanins, and then we cooked dinner. So our job today was to make tie-dye noodles, right? And so we boiled red cabbage, we did noodles, we did chicken, we did all that. It was a whole bowl, right? But the key here is that I spent time bonding with them, talking to them, involving them, and not putting the pressure on them to continue our normal day, because sometimes we just need that break. We need some time to regroup. We need some time to think about things that are less stressful, right? I feel like if I had said, okay, let's go back with our homeschool, you're done now, you're good, you're not crying anymore, let's do our schoolwork, I feel like that would have been a different outcome, because we didn't necessarily regroup. Like we didn't necessarily like get to the bottom of the issue, if that makes sense. So this will happen every single day, but I feel like this day we needed to do that, because I feel like kind of like bonding with them after the meltdowns, after the tantrum and stuff like that is a really good way to see what's the issue, right? I just really had to take in this world of how much time I was spending with each individual child, whether or not I needed to do some things differently and stuff like that. So that was my reflection for today. I thought about going to the park, cooking dinner with them, doing a painting or drawing or even putting on a movie. So we didn't really need to do those things. We just went to the park and cooked dinner, well, cooked lunch, and it was fine. Everybody's good, everybody's happy. My girls are actually outside on the porch now working in the sensory bin. So it's like, it works. It really works. But the next thing I would say is to ask for help. Like, usually when we're here throughout the day, I'm hearing myself because my husband is at work. So it's like, I can't really get relief during those hard moments, right? I can call and talk about them. I can call and get advice. But it's up to me to really handle the situation, diffuse the situation, change the situation while I'm here. And so if I need that help, it's like I have to wait until someone is available, until my husband gets home and he is able to give me a break, to get a breather or whatever. But I have to find a way to calm myself down if I get worked up, or find a way to not let one little thing throw my day off, right? And so the thing that I did today, I was like, today's gonna be a great day. Even in the midst of the tantrums and stuff like that, I was like, today is gonna be a great day. Because what you say to yourself, it matters. Like, even when you feel like something is off, okay, we had a little bump in the road, but I'm still positive about our outcome. I'm still positive about my day. I still want to make the best of this day. And when I tell you that the meltdown happened at 9 o'clock, like 9 o'clock, so literally we had the whole day ahead of us, and it was just a whole lot. So yes. Oh, I forgot this one. So this is something that my children usually do, right? So sometimes in the heat of the moment, my daughter would ask me, like, can I go take a nap? I mentioned that we have this book where it gives the children different options for, you know, coping with their feelings and their emotions. And of course, taking a nap is one of those ways. And that's usually what she do. Like, if she gets too worked up, she'll usually go take a nap. And it happens, like, usually every time. So that's one of the ways she's coping with that. But I think the biggest thing when we're dealing with these kind of issues is to empathize, to listen, and to let them know they're being heard, right? So sometimes it's like, really? But that's not something I want to do or to show, because even when they're small now, they have to grow older, and they only know how you reacted to them when they brought you a smaller problem. So I don't want to brush off their feelings now, because I don't want them to not feel comfortable enough with me, with telling me their feelings, or if somebody else hurt them or whatever the case may be. So I don't brush off their feelings. Even sometimes in the back of my mind, be like, ooh, it ain't that deep. But sometimes to them it is that deep. So that's something I have to do. The next thing I would say is I just really take the day, look, little by little. Like, I can't predict what's going to happen in 2-3 hours. Like, I don't know how the rest of the day will work, but once I can get myself together, I can make the best of the day for them as well. I can go hug them. I can go try to tickle them. I can ask them if they want to play with the puzzle, or do this, or help me with this, whatever the case may be. There are ways that I know I can turn things around, their mood around when it comes to my children. And it's like, in order for me to be able to do that, I had to learn that this is a very small thing in your day. You have 24 hours, right? And even less time than that, because throughout the day they're napping, you're sleeping, stuff like that. So I try to take the toughness, like, as it comes, and after that I try to be as positive as I can, because guess what? Today may be an off day today, but we have tomorrow, Lord's will, right? Or if we just need to do something differently, I'm okay with saying today we could just have a fun day, a free day, a peaceful day, a family day, to just get some things together. If you are a homeschool parent and you're looking for some things to do on homeschool days, when you have to get something done, I would say play things like board games, to review whatever skill you're practicing on, do things like puzzles, watching videos on the topics that you want to study, go on a field trip so you can make the day out instead of being at home. So if you are studying about animals, you know, going to the zoo. If you're talking about specific fruit and veggies, you know, going to the grocery store, or the art museum if you're studying art, whatever the case may be. Just switching things up a little bit. Sometimes a change of scenery also works a ton. So those are a few things that I usually do when it comes to doing an alternative day for homeschooling. And also switch the time of the day that you start homeschooling. So this morning I was going to try to do our homeschool work early this morning, but when those mornings are tough, I usually try to wait until after lunchtime, after we have been outside and did all the things. And then sometimes I even wait until the evening time. It just depends on the child, and it just depends on what we have going on. So, and then there are those days where it's like maybe screen time is scheduled for in the afternoon, but we need to do it in the morning time because it's just way too much for me. That's an option as well, but I usually don't resort to just doing screen time just to calm a moment, right? I try to deal with the underlying reason of the issue, and then once that has been fixed or at least talked about, then I may say you can go watch a show, or that you can get on your tablet for 20 minutes. But I feel like when they have really big meltdowns like that, I don't necessarily want them in the screen because that can affect their behavior as well. So my daughter have asked me today to get on her tablet and to watch TV, but I was like, no, I prefer to go outside. I prefer you to paint. I prefer you to do this. I prefer you to not be in the screens because, look, it can be fine 15 minutes in, they want to watch another episode, and it can go the same way it was before we got started. So hopefully these tips were helpful. I just wanted to make this video because my other video was supposed to be about the toddler learning routine, y'all, but it was like I couldn't do it today, so I couldn't film it. I had 2 out of the 3 that were crying, and it was like, there's no way I can give y'all my original video. But I wanted to share this with y'all because it happens to all of us. Whether you're homeschooling or not, we have our days, our kids have their days, and that's totally fine. We have to teach them how to deal with those emotions. We have to teach them how to think, right, before they say things they don't really mean. We have to teach them how to cope with their feelings, and we also have to work on coping with our feelings, because if we're disciplining them out of anger, it's probably not the best way to do it, right? It's just probably not the best way to do it, because if you are angry, you're not thinking rationally. Let's just be clear. If you're angry, you may do a bit of yelling, right? Maybe a lot of yelling because, you know, you're having a hard time controlling yourself. But the way that we teach our children how to control their emotions and how to deal with hard situations, hard things, is by modeling it ourselves when we are in a situation where we feel like it's tough, right? So I asked my children to give me a minute. I asked them to go in their room and I'll come in there. I asked them to go in their room and to get it together, right? To calm down, think about what they need to do. I give them those tools, the flashcards and the things to draw their emotions, and give them the window, the time to come talk to me about why they were crying, why they were upset and stuff like that. That doesn't mean that I always want to hear it in the moment, because it's like, why are you doing this? But it's like I always want to have that open line of communication and want to be their teacher to get them through these hard things. Like, it's a lot that I had to not say or do as a child because my feelings were brushed off, right? And so I don't want to be that parent. So I'm still learning. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, because we have our days, as I said. But when it's hard, just remember, you know, take a break. Take some deep breaths. Give yourself some grace. Give your baby some grace. A lot of the things are new for them. A lot of the things are sometimes hard, really, really hard. And then if you are a perfectionist, you know that you are very hard on yourself. So that happens with children as well. It starts with children, right? Look, I was a perfectionist. Sometimes I still am. I have a perfectionist. What are you doing, water?
Water plate.
All right. And so it's like they can be really hard on themselves. They can do things that they feel like it's so big, and we feel like it's minuscule, right? So yeah, hopefully this video was helpful. Leave me some feedback. What are some things that you do when you're having a tough parenting day? What are some things that really gets you motivated? So I forgot to mention this. I know it's the end of the video. If you're still here, drop a comment, because you're special, right? But also calling people and you know, I said ask for help, but also calling people and ask for advice, or calling people to, you know, maybe come over to help. I guess it depends.